Dead man walking.
Alright, creatures of the night, welcome to Talking Taker episode 71. Oh my goodness, of our encyclopedic exploration, digging up the career of the greatest professional wrestling character of all time. My name is Alex Dorio, I am one of your co-hosts, I am one of the creatures of the night, and I am joined, as always, for these 71 glorious episodes by my tag team partner, my wrestling buddy, Mr. Big Shot, Travis White. And Travis, the rumor and innuendo, man, is that you're going to be leaving this podcast to join Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson after your guest appearance asking a question on the latest episode. That's what everyone's talking about. You're going to be ditching me, leaving me behind. You're big time now because you're on the big podcast. I mean, what's the deal, man? Let's hash it out. What's going on?
I could never do that to you. But yes, it was neat, man. That was fun to hear. That was the first question that they asked, so that was cool. You know, I think you and I both asked tremendous amounts of questions on Facebook, and you on Twitter probably. I don't know. I've asked a lot on Facebook, but I think one time before they might have said something of ours, but this was really neat to get the first question there, and I meant it too. Those of you who didn't know, it was talking about Rock Bottom 98, or was that 97? 98?
98.
Yeah. That abysmal Buried Alive match, and I said, you know, if these graves are 6 feet deep, how tall is Undertaker? Because he was supposed to be 11 feet tall. So Bruce kind of entertained it, and it was good, man. It was good. He didn't just crap all over it like he does some of the people's good, funny questions. So I appreciated that.
And it was good to get some clarification on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to get that. And between that, being on Russo's podcast, and having Tony Schiavone call me, although you met Tony face to face, but
True.
All we gotta do is get the Bischoff next, man, and maybe we can do Talking Taker with Conrad Thompson, get us some more hundreds of thousands of downloads.
I don't know. He's a little busy.
He's a little busy. I don't know how he has time to do anything.
I don't either. I don't know how we have time to do all this, but we're going to give it our best shot here as we are hitting up on episode 71. We're doing WrestleMania 17 right here, or X7, or 17, whatever you want to call it here. WrestleMania from 2001, as that's going to be the next stop on our encyclopedic exploration here, as we are covering an all-time classic match from an all-time classic show, The Undertaker versus Triple H in the first of their WrestleMania trilogy. This is one I know I've been waiting for. This is one I know a lot of our listeners have been waiting for many weeks now, so I'm excited to get to it. How about you, my friend?
Oh, man, I'm excited about this. Yeah, this is there been any other trilogies of WrestleMania besides this and Rock and Austin?
Trilogies. I don't know of any other trilogies. There's been a lot of rematches.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting to look at all the different matches that got rematches at WrestleMania. But I think that our listeners may correct us, and we may think of one as we're going along, but this might be it.
Yeah, I think this and Rock and Austin are only trilogies that we have, so that's a big feather in their cap. But yeah, man, I'm excited about this. I'm excited to get this build-up down and out of the way so we can talk about this match. It's been one we've definitely been looking forward to, and you and I have had a little bit of trouble trying to get this recorded this week, so we're burning the midnight oil, trying to get this out to you guys best we can. So, that being said, man, we're ready to hit this road to WrestleMania, arguably the greatest WrestleMania of all time, in my opinion. So
maybe the greatest WWF pay-per-view of all time, maybe...
Sure.
Maybe the peak of the WWE or the WWF of all time. I mean, you could maybe make that argument that it's all kind of been downhill from this moment. It's kind of sad to say, but I was trying to think about it, man, and I don't know if it's ever been as exciting as it was at this moment. Lots of great moments since then, but I don't know.
Sure.
It might have peaked at this point. I don't know how you feel, but yeah, man. Let's take it back. Hop in the time-traveling motorcycle and take it back to February. Man, all the way back to February of 2001 as we begin this build-up heading into WrestleMania. How do you want to say it, man? X7, 17, XVII?
We can go with XVII, but we'll take a little bit more time on the podcast. Let's go with 17, I guess. Although, I should be WrestleMania 2001, right? Because last year was WrestleMania 2000.
Right, so. They skipped 16 through 1999.
Yeah.
Went right to WrestleMania 2000.
I always hated that. But whatever. Yeah, this is WrestleMania 17. Let's go with 17. It's easier. It's more normal. It's universal.
Let's do it.
Our listeners in the Netherlands can know what 17 is. They may not know what X7 is. They know what 17 is. Anyway, yeah. Speaking of, wow, I don't even know where we're headed back to. February. It seems like a whole different thing. We're talking about building up to Triple H and Undertaker here, but I'm going to go back to Raw 405 on February 26, 01, where Hakishi. That's the team of Haku and Rikishi. Those of you just joining in, they're taking on the Dudleys for the WWF Tag Team titles. So apparently running in during that match at the pay-per-view last night gets them a tag team title shot. Who knows? But before that match, Kane and Taker come out to watch from the top of the ramp, and they actually come out to Kane's music, which I thought was kind of interesting. I don't know. That just seemed weird to me.
It's kind of weird.
Kane's music, yeah. So, and then the camera just kind of shows them looking on throughout the match, and then there's a ref bump, and as you might imagine, they get involved. There's some shenanigans going on, and Taker just lays waste to Rikishi, and Kane chokeslams Haku, and then Devon covers Haku as the ref comes to, and he counts to 3, and then Taker and Kane get back in the ring, and they chokeslam the Dudley Boys at the same time. So,
what?
Yep. They just get back in the ring and chokeslam them. So that's, again, we're building a Triple H and Undertaker here, but doesn't seem like it. So,
yeah, we
and this is a common
off...
theme with the entire card of WrestleMania, actually. We'll get to that as we keep going. So.
It is. We left off with No Way Out 2001 with Undertaker and Kane losing that triple threat tag team title match because of interference from Hakishi. And now it really felt like, man, they were teasing that for WrestleMania here on SmackDown as well, on Raw and on SmackDown, and maybe the Dudley Boys were going to be involved. Dude, I don't get it, man. Like,
yeah.
We got TLC, we got something very different with Undertaker, something very different with Kane, nothing with Haku and Rikishi here. Right. I don't know what the original plans were, but clearly stuff got shuffled around here afterward.
Yeah.
As we look at SmackDown episode 80 on March 1st, 2001, just a weird one to look back at, just the names involved in this match. A 6-man tag with Christian, Haku, and Rikishi against Devon Dudley, Undertaker, and Kane.
Devon, who they just chokeslammed on Monday.
Yeah, they just chokeslammed him on Monday, and it's just him in this match because... Edge was injured in the match on Sunday, so that's why he's not with Christian. He was injured in that tables match. So on the advice of Kurt Angle, Christian attacks Bubba Ray backstage. He hits him with a chair to send him a message, so we end up with this weird 6-man tag. And it is weird. It's hilarious because the babyface team just completely dominates Rikishi for the first half of the match. And then, since Devon doesn't have his partner in this match, he gets Kane to do the "what up" with him. And Kane hops up on the top rope, does the diving headbutt. I
remember that.
Does the "was up." And Undertaker is standing in the corner, and he's like rolling his eyes. He is so upset at Kane for just confused and befuddled with him. He just puts his head in his hands. It's hilarious, man.
Would you say his eyes were rolling what?
I would, all the way to the back of his head, just like the Dead Man days.
Man.
The very confused Undertaker eventually tags in and gives Christian another signature giant chokeslam and last ride to finish him off. And
Christian,
I know, man, he gets it every time.
I think once he goes in the Hall of Fame, Undertaker should induct him
and then chokeslam him like through the stage.
last ride him off the stage.
That'd be perfect. I'd love that.
Anyway, sorry.
Or just have Edge induct him, and then at the end of his speech, Undertaker just like gives him that look.
It's about that time.
Yeah, you know what's coming. Taker continues to give Kane that look of bewilderment as they ride up the ramp together. And again, at this point, I have no idea how we're getting to Undertaker and Triple H at WrestleMania. And again, I have no idea why Haku and Rikishi get completely left off WrestleMania 17, man. The biggest WrestleMania ever. They're all over TV the few weeks before this. Rikishi's been the biggest, or maybe second or third biggest heel in the company for the past 6 months.
Yeah. Doesn't
make it, not even on the pre-show of WrestleMania. Like, I would love to know who they pissed off besides us and besides, I guess, Undertaker and Kane. They decided they didn't want to work with him, man.
I mean, trust me, I didn't mind because I hated Rikishi's heel run, but I love Haku. But I mean, I didn't mind at the time, but it is weird just to kind of put all this under a microscope like we do, and then see it not lead to anything. It's just what a waste of stories and airtime, So honestly, weird.
Very weird. I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're ready to roll into a new era here on Talking Taker. We're going to get Raw 406 on March 5th, and this is going to be our debut of Paul Heyman on commentary in company.
Oh, yeah.
So it's really cool because the show opens. I mentioned last week's episode of Talking Taker that King and the Cat walk out of the company. Well, actually, she gets fired. He walks out. And so
sad day for multiple reasons.
Yeah, sad day for commentary. But if you're going to replace them with somebody, why not get Paul Heyman? And just look at the business here. Like we've got the owner, whatever, head honcho of ECW is now the co-commentator on Monday Night Raw. Like, what the heck? It's absolutely incredible.
Was he wearing the ECW hat when he came out? Right, yeah.
Yes,
I remember
wearing the ECW hat.
And I remember just being mind-blowing.
Yeah.
We were both online at this time reading stuff online, and maybe it was spoiled, but I don't remember it being spoiled. I remember just seeing him come out and just, like, my jaw hitting the floor, being like, what is going on? Because, we knew ECW was at death's door, but that was still pretty shocking.
Yeah, we knew that, and then also online, the dirt sheets, we knew that this Fusent Media Group was supposed to be buying WCW with Eric Bischoff at the helm, We had heard of all that, too, so... but it's weird because the camera's on JR and it kind of pans out and there's Paul Heyman sitting there and he actually shoots about Cat Lawler and TNN and ECW and WWF all during his introduction. It's really cool. He's just so good, man. And again, just very surreal. And but now it's so funny because now in we have this benefit of hindsight looking back and we know that ECW is kind of in WWF's pocket,
Right.
They kind of borrowed money from them, and back then it wasn't common knowledge even to the guys in the business. But it's just crazy to see him on there. But he's going to debut on commentary for a pay-per-view match here during what we're building up to. But it's just really cool to see him on commentary here. And basically, we hear that Taker and Kane are going to take on Hakishi tonight because they want the WWF Tag Team titles, and they're being roadblocked by Hakishi. So.
Man, it's gonna. we heading towards Roadblock?
Yeah, man.
Into the road or into the line, whatever that stupid pay-per-view was called.
It was Roadblock. They had it twice in 1 year. So,
yeah,
Roadblock, and I just wrote seriously, like they're being roadblocked by Hakishi. So anyway, I don't know how because they beat the crap out of him last week, and then on SmackDown they won that match. So how are they being roadblocked? But anyway, we see Taker walking backstage through the semi-trucks, and he walks past Kane, and Kane goes, "Where you going, Take?"
Where you going, Take? To the ring. I think I'll join you.
And which I thought was great. He just calls him Take. So, and then, look at that.
Sorry to interrupt. I just got cookies delivered from McDonald's on Uber Eats, so my wife's bringing them in. To the podcast office, so they're not our sponsor or anything. It's not a sponsored segment, but just like
it should be.
I wish it was.
They're bringing it to you, man. It should be a sponsor. Oh man,
that smells like French fries.
Yeah, I should have got you French fries too.
I'm real mad about it, actually.
Well, you didn't speak up, so that's on you.
Yeah,
you ordered oatmeal raisin. They didn't have them. They couldn't get a hold of you.
That's right. I'd offer you one, Travis, but I'll eat one in your honor.
Wait, please do.
I'll eat it.
Yeah. Aim small, miss small. That's what I say. So you got to order those French fries when you want them.
You gonna take more than one?
Oh, I can't come back. That's right.
Instead of where you going, Take, I'm gonna say where you going, Kate.
Oh god.
Oh man,
Here,
that looks delicious.
They're great.
I'm not sure how this is gonna make it on the show or not.
Some of it might.
That's what.
All right, go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, man.
Done with interruptions.
Oh, you're fine. I'm probably not. We see Taker walking through the semi trucks backstage, and he walks past Kane, and Kane goes, "Where you going, Take?" So I just thought it was funny because we always say Taker, which as a shorten his name, but he even shortens it one less. He goes, "Where you going, Take?"
So we should be talking Take.
Talking Take, I guess. All right. We're not brothers with him, so we're just comfortable with him. And so Taker goes to the ring, and then Kane's like, "I think I'll join you." And it's just that's it. I don't know. I'm not sure what that was about, but it was great.
Nope.
And then, please, Creatures of the Night, correct me if I'm wrong, but Taker makes his entrance for this match, and Paul Heyman on commentary says,
The Brothers of Destruction against the Children of the Jungle.
First of all, probably offensive in 2018 to call them Children of the Jungle, but is this the debut officially of the Brothers of Destruction name?
As far as I can remember, he's the one who coins it because we have been using it just as shorthand for them. They called them the Demonic Duo a lot.
Right.
Is what Michael Cole and J.R. King would call them so often. But yeah, I think this is pretty much it. We can thank the creative genius of Paul Heyman for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there we finally got, like you said, we've been using it because it's just people know what that is. But yeah, we've been careful to mention they're not actually called that yet. But I think that's what happens right here on March 5th. So just thank you, Heyman. That's awesome. So I guess we can retire that Hakishi name too, and we'll just call them Children of the Jungle or the COJ from now on. So anyway, they brawl up the rampway until Taker and Haku make it to the ring, and then the match begins, and it just kind of is what it is, from these two. Kane never even actually tags in. So basically, So basically, Taker beats him. He chokeslams Haku, and it's just, in my opinion, it was just an extreme burial. Like, this was it. Like, I don't know if they took a crap in Mr. McMahon's bag or
sneezed in front of him.
They might have sneezed in front of him, or yeah, I have no idea what happened, but in my opinion, a tag match against these guys and Kane doesn't ever tag in, that says a lot, So, and I also would like to make another nomination for the Russo Broment of the week.
All right, let's do it.
/year.
Whoa.
/ maybe of the entire company.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to put this up there on the ballot. This is the episode of Raw, which a lot of people may not have remembered anything I just talked about, but everyone remembers this next segment. This is where Vince McMahon makes Trish walk around on all fours, bark like a dog, strip down to her bra and underwear, and then right before she takes her bra off, he stops her. And I'd just like to say that Vince Russo isn't near a wrestling company at this point. TNA is in the future, WCW is in the in the rearview mirror for him. He's nowhere near one.
I remember that segment very well.
Yep. I'll never forget it.
I can picture it in my mind right now.
Yep. But are you serious right now? Like, that's got to take the Russo Broman of the company, right?
I think it has to, but I will say, that's a McMahon moment if there ever was one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that just goes to show you, man, it wasn't all. That wasn't all Vince Russo imparting all that. A lot of that is Mr. McMahon himself right there. So I think that's a perfect representation of what this segment is supposed to be all about, man. We might have to retire it after that one, man. I don't know if we can top it after that. But
we just call it the Vince moment of because one of the Vinces is going to be. But yeah, you're right. We may just have to retire that segment because that just takes the cake and all the other cakes at the bakery. So. Whew.
Craziness. And that's going to lead to Vince and Shane fighting each other at WrestleMania in a match way better than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't the only crappy thing going on that people may forget about or like to forget about. SmackDown 81, March 8th, 2001. I just want to point out, nothing specifically, but we all remember Austin and Rock for being this great match at Mania, which it was.
Yeah.
And so I think because of that, we remember it being a great feud. And I think that's partly because we all remember that classic My Way promo video that they have for the match. But I was just reminded watching some of these shows that in actuality, most of their feud and build-up was about Deborah being the Rock's manager, being forced into that role, and Austin and Rock fighting over Deborah. And it was actually terrible for the most part, up until the last couple weeks where they finally were just dropped that whole garbage.
Yeah, It was, man. You're right. I totally forgot. I blacked out of my memory that she was
Yeah.
involved here. You know, I didn't remember her becoming on-screen character until the summertime after he was already heel. I forgot before that she was involved. So
Yeah, she gets
crazy.
shoehorned into this stuff, and it sucks. But anyway, one other important note before we get to the big stuff here is that on this episode of SmackDown, William Regal becomes the new commissioner of the WWF, winning a match over Al Snow, who had been campaigning to replace his friend Mick Foley. But William Regal is going to become the official commissioner, and that's going to come into play here a little bit for the rest of this build-up, and I'm sure over the next few months as we see him in that role. But here's where things really start rolling here, kind of out of nowhere. But Triple H returns to SmackDown for the first time after No Way Out. He did defeat Stone Cold in the 3 Stages of Hell match at No Way Out. He defeated the man who's going to be facing the champion at WrestleMania, so that's a pretty big win there.
Sure.
He cuts, the traditional Triple H long promo. He rants about being in the company for 7 years, which is actually longer than Austin or Rock had ever been there at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Talks about being married to the most powerful woman in the company, beating everyone in the company, including Austin and The Rock. And yet he's still not in the main event of WrestleMania. He's saying he deserves to be in there. That's what his promo is all about. Well, that gets interrupted by The Undertaker. Undertaker's music plays. He walks on out, and he doesn't take too kindly to all this whining, much to the annoyance of Triple H and Stephanie. And Undertaker cuts pretty great promo here, man. I'll try to summarize it here. He says, 2 things you need to know. First, I don't know if you realize it or not, but you're trespassing on private property, because when you walk in between these ropes, you're in my yard. Tells Triple H you don't want to be in that yard. Bad things happen in that yard. They've been happening for a long time, for a decade of destruction. He says you should know that better than anybody, Triple H. While you were trying to climb, kick and claw and screw your way to the top of the mountain, I was burying people underneath that mountain, making it bigger all the time. It's a pretty great line right there. Taker says that brings me to my second point.
Shoot right there.
Little shoot ski.
Yeah.
He says that brings me to my second point. You've come a long way in 7 years, but this just ain't your day, boy.
Now, I heard you say you beat The Rock, you beat Austin, you beat this guy, you beat that guy. Yeah, that's real good. Good for you, Triple H. But I'm going to let you in on something. I ain't the people's champion. I ain't no rattlesnake. I'm the dead man. And if you try me, I'll make you famous.
And he brings up a point here. He says, you ain't ever beat me. Which, there you go. I don't think he has, from what I can remember. Unless we missed something.
I don't think he's ever beat him cleanly. If he did, it was like a screw job. Because I don't remember them ever having a clean finish with Triple H going over. So, yeah.
Well, that's the crux of this, man. Triple H is complaining because he feels like he deserves to be in the main event because he's beat everybody. But the one guy he hasn't beat comes out and challenges him, man. Taker says, I don't like you, I don't respect you, and I don't fear you, but if you're standing in my yard, I'm going to break you. So Triple H starts begging off, acting like he doesn't want anything to do with Undertaker, and then, of course, goes for a cheap shot, but Undertaker sees right through it, tosses Triple H right out of the yard, and sends Triple H and Stephanie scurrying as Triple H's music plays, and our WrestleMania feud is on, baby, just like that. Great promo from Undertaker here, and honestly, a great setup, man. This is everything you want wrestling to be right here.
Isn't it weird how it, you didn't realize at the time, but in 2011, it kind of mirrors this whole thing?
Yeah, I wanted to bring that
weird,
up, man.
I just thought about that.
It's all very similar, and I totally forgot that. I remember
didn't stand out to me in 2011.
It didn't. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, that makes it even cooler to me.
It does. I can't wait to get to that after seeing all this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, Decade of Destruction. Here we go. We're going to head into WrestleMania. Now we got our feud actually going, and WrestleMania is only 3 weeks away. Yeah,
we're 3 weeks out at this point.
Yeah, which again, It's just strange. That's not the only thing that's changed in the company, but the card's going to shuffle. Card's subject to change. So that's going to bring us to Raw 407 on March 12th. So we get a battle of former WWF Tag Team Champions and members of the Local 81. We get Taker taking on Big Show for the Hardcore title. So, yeah, man. Is this Taker's first Hardcore title shot?
As far as I remember, we had his first Hardcore match against Raven a couple weeks ago. Now his first shot at the Hardcore title.
Yeah, so getting the shot of that prestigious title. Can't even say that. So that's what's supposed to happen. But before the match, Taker's backstage walking up to his motorcycle, and Luis Guzman's stunt double and Eddie Guerrero's great grandpa are working on it there. So and it's great because
wow.
As Taker walks up, he's like, "Yo, Louie," or whatever the guy's name is. It's so great. I'll see if we can find it and put it on social media. But he's like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Man, I've been working on the carburetor all day. I can't get it to work." Yada yada yada, going on about this mechanical parts and stuff. And Taker gets on there and cranks it up, and so the carburetor must be working fine because he cranks it right up. But Triple H runs out of nowhere and just knocks him off the bike and then pushes it onto his leg. So he's kind of trapped underneath it. And then he grabs a chair, and a folding chair, and he sits on it like he's AC Slater from Saved by the Bell. Sits in it backwards style, with like the little bar going over Taker's neck. And he's basically choking him. He's choking a man, but he's cutting a long-winded Triple H promo here. So
of course.
It's great. But he's basically saying, "I'm already famous. I'm going to take you out and cripple you." And then as he goes to walk away, he gets up and Taker tells him, "You better finish the job while you got the chance, boy." So Triple H comes back and goes to hit him with a chair, but then he stops short because Kane comes barreling at him, running again. And Triple H bails. Big Show then comes from behind and attacks Kane and winds up chokeslamming him through a table. And then Taker yells, "You'll pay too," as Big Show leaves. So mixing it up with Big Show and Triple H here, which is going to eventually lead to the Kane and Big Show having a match at WrestleMania. So we're building this pay-per-view, the granddaddy of them all, 3 weeks out. So starting these big feuds going to blow off the granddaddy of them all. So...
well, it's a little rushed, but I love that segment with Triple H sitting on the chair on his neck like that. It's such a great visual.
It is,
and I mean this whole build up. It's awesome. It's two tough guys, being tough with each other and trying to get one over on each other, and just not running away from each other. Just doing. I don't know any other way to say it, man. Just two tough guys being tough.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's good. And speaking of stuff being set up very quickly, this is the night that Shane returns too, and they're going to have that match. He challenges, or it's going to set up his match with Vince. So also just want to mention a little Talking Taker moment here is that before the main event of this episode of Raw, we get a classic WrestleMania moment. They kind of flash back, and it's WrestleMania 12 where Taker beats Diesel. So thought that was pretty cool as WCW is getting a doornail or the last nail in their coffin. They're going to show Taker beating one of their stalwarts there in WCW and Diesel. So because honestly, 6 days from this night of Raw is WCW's last pay-per-view. So
WCW agreed. We watched that together.
We did, dude. It was great.
Great show, man. Underrated show. Some great matches on that show.
Jason Jett, man.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
The Cleewee. Man, you can listen to Undertaker and Diesel in our archives, in the Talking Taker archives back there. As we talked about that one. Was that did that make your top 10 of that era?
I believe it did.
Yeah, I think
if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think
good match. Good match. Go check that out if you haven't heard that one before. As we roll on to this WrestleMania here, SmackDown 82, March 15th, 2001, and after those events of Monday night, logic here, man. The Undertaker is backstage, sitting on his bike on the garage, waiting on Triple H to show up to get his revenge. Man, I love it. He's like a cowboy, man. He's going to handle his business right. He's not going to wait around to the ring. He's just waiting on Triple H to get there. So we get various segments of him sitting on the bike backstage. Kane walks up to him, and this is similar to that segment you were talking about earlier. He's like, "What's up, man?" Undertaker says, "Waiting." Kane says, "Waiting on what?" Undertaker says, "Just waiting." And Kane tries to talk him out of it. He says, like, there's other ways to handle this, man. And Taker looks at him and is like, since when did you become the voice of reason? Love it. Playing into their history with each other. Kane says he'll wait with him, but Kane says he'll wait with Taker, but Taker says, no, I need to handle this one on my own. And Undertaker promises to get a shot in for Kane, get revenge for him from Monday night. We get another segment, and a little while later, Undertaker's looking around in the parking garage for a weapon and grabs a lead pipe. The Commissioner, William Regal, comes out later on to try to talk some sense into Undertaker. He asks him if he'll come inside and try to sort out his problems with Triple H. I
love the way he says that. It's one of my favorites.
It's the best.
Sorry.
Undertaker, of course, ignores him and suggests that Regal gets out of his face before he does something he doesn't want to do. And just starts tapping that pipe on the floor. That's he wouldn't resort to those measures. Come on, not an animal. Finally, Triple H and Steph's limo arrives, and Triple H starts to get out, but Undertaker runs up to it, and Triple H hides back in the car. Taker steals the keys out of the front seat, so the limo can't drive away, and then starts bashing in the windows with his pipe. And Triple H and Stephanie run out the other side, and Undertaker kind of circles around them as Stephanie screams. And then we realize that the cerebral assassin, Triple H, has outsmarted the Undertaker here. He has played his rage against him because police cars show up quickly and form a barricade as Taker realizes he's been screwed over, and he gets arrested for the second time in the history of our podcast, I believe. I believe it's the second. It might be the third time. He did
second or third
corporate ministry days. I remember. But he says he remembers. He says, "Go ahead, I've been there before." As they start to read him his rights, he tells them, "Yeah, I know, I got a lot of rights." Then Triple
care.
Nah, he did.
It.
Triple H.
Well, let me interject real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Stephanie doesn't want to rob with him again because last time she did, he was like, "Where to, Stephanie?"
Good point. She has some traumatic memories here.
Yeah.
Well, Triple H tries to ease her mind. He tries a new catchphrase here. I don't know if this one's going to catch on, but as the police lead Undertaker away, Triple H yells out, "See you in the can, dead man."
See you in the can, dead man. See you in the can.
Oh my golly. That deserves a Yikabroni. That's awful, man. See you in the can, dead man. That sounds like a parody of a wrestling promo. That'd probably be on Monday Night Raw next week.
Exactly, yeah. It's something that's scripted in 2018. Yeah. Well, that's not everything here.
See in the can? Put him in a toilet? I don't understand. Anyway, that caught me off guard.
I don't blame you. Triple H and Stephanie are going to barge into Mr. Regal's office later on and demand that they press full charges against The Undertaker for his actions. Kane is not happy about what happens to his brother, so he demands a match with Triple H, and Commissioner Regal obliges. So that's I think it was the main event. Anyway, it happens later on in the show. Motorhead is actually in the front row for this matchup.
Ooh, yeah.
Lemmy's right there. He gives Triple H a hug as he comes out. And it's a pretty long match. They fight around ringside up to the stage. They finally get in the ring. Big Show comes out to get a closer view of everything. And Big Show eventually gives Kane that stupid Final Cut maneuver that he was doing around this time. I hated that move, man.
When Shane Helms used it, it was great as a cruiserweight. But when he used it, it was awful.
It looked terrible.
I don't know.
Well, he does it on the outside while Steph's distracting the ref, and then Triple H gives Kane the pedigree for the win, and Big Show gives Kane a chokeslam for good measure as these two feuds still kind of intersect here going into the last 2 weeks, heading into WrestleMania.
Yeah, man. Crazy. Like you said, last 2 weeks, and WrestleMania card is still taking shape very quickly here. So, speaking of that, this is Raw 408, March 19th, 01, and I don't know if the writing crew was on like speed or cocaine or what they were on, but buckle up, man, because this one's going to be a heck of a show. And
let's do it.
Again, the night before is WCW's last pay-per-view, so I don't know if they were inspired by that and just like, hey, let's just go write some good stuff or what. I have no idea. But I'll try to get through this briefly. But this is for what I remember, this is a brilliant show from top to bottom. So anyway, Kane interferes in Big Show versus Raven, which allows Raven to win the hardcore title off Big Show. So now, they got this little triple threat feud basically here. So and Raven's got the hardcore title now for one of his 27 reigns. He's the winningest hardcore champion of all time. So, or has the title the most. That's a little stat nowadays, but it wasn't quite that high at this point in his career. But anyway, during Vince and Shane having their contract signing for their street fight at WrestleMania, again, which was built up starting last week, Triple H comes down and beats the crap out of what will become his future brother-in-law, and beats a mess out of him and hits a pedigree on him. Later on, we're going to see Taker arriving on his choppa backstage, and old Bill Regal approaches him and comes backstage with a bunch of rent-a-cops and some paperwork, and he's like, I got some things to discuss with you, and Taker's like, yeah, whatever. Like, just give me your papers. Probably a restraining order for Triple H. And Regal's like, no, actually, it's for Stephanie. So you can't come within 25 feet of her. And then Taker tells Regal that they're going to have to have a little heart-to-heart later on. So he says, I know that you're the one who dropped the dime on me last week and ratted me out to the cops. So that
Regal dropped the dime? He did Rey Mysterio's move?
Apparently he did.
I can't imagine that.
Me neither, but apparently he dropped the dime on him, so whatever that means. And said he ratted him out to the cops. And Taker goes, you know what? And in my book, that makes you an endangered species. And in my world, snitches, they're a dying breed. So
okay.
He didn't say snitches get stitches, but he said snitches, they're a dying breed. So again, he can't come within 25 feet of Stephanie. So then Triple H is going to ask Regal for a match with Test tonight as payback for Test defeating Regal for his European title. So Test is the European champion, and he's like, I'll get back at it for you, and I guess to pay him back for that, dropping the dime and getting Undertaker arrested. So anyway, then later on backstage, Triple H approaches the Big Show and says, if you want a shot at Kane, you should go after his brother Undertaker. And then, so basically, it's just funny because Triple H is already playing his politics backstage, like in real life and on camera. It's just kind of funny to see that. Art imitating life, from what we know. So then, Triple H is going to take on the European champion. European champion in a battle of Steph's sloppy seconds is what I called it. So they didn't call it that sloppy second match, but that's what it is. So after Test takes a shoulder bump on the ring post, which is now just a transition move to commercial breaks in 2018. Back then it used to mean something.
Yeah.
We hear rolling through the PA system, and Taker walks out, and he's just shaking his head like a disappointed father that found you, doing something inappropriate or letting him down. He just comes out, he's shaking his head, and he's heading down the ramp, and Big Show comes from behind to attack him, and as he goes to swing the chair at him, Kane comes out, snatches it, and clobbers Big Show in the head with it. So Taker then sends Kane down to chase Stephanie through the crowd. So remember, he can't get within 25 feet of Stephanie. Right. So he sends Kane.
Never said nothing about Kane.
Exactly. So he being Kane, chases Stephanie out through the crowd, and now that she's gone, Taker's got a wide open lane to Triple H. So he gets in there and casually takes off his sunglasses, takes off his beanie, gets in the ring, and then he just starts throwing his soup bones at Triple H, man, just pounding on him. And he gets Triple H up for a chokeslam, but Big Show comes back in and makes a save, and Triple H gets away up the ramp. Test then gets back into the ring and spins Taker around to basically say, why'd you interfere? And he eats a chokeslam as well. So Taker's
way to go.
Yeah, he's taking out everybody. So
what are you thinking, dude? Come on, Test.
But I just think that it was a cool little piece of I don't know, it's cool little storytelling there. So so after the commercial, we're gonna get something very a very infamous shot. A lot of people remember backstage. We see Kane holding, I'm going to do air quotes here, for Stephanie over his head, the top of the balcony of the arena. Now, I don't know if it's a blow-up doll, if it's a cardboard cutout. I don't know what it is. But it's not
certainly
Stephanie.
not Stephanie McMahon.
It's certainly not a human being. So it's a lifeless form of or a sandbag or something. But he's holding Stephanie, quote unquote, above his head on like the balcony of this backstage area. And Regal comes up and he's like, Kane, put her down. And Taker's like, he'll put her down, but Kane wants a match with Big Show at WrestleMania. And he's like, okay, fine, you got it. And then Taker's like, and I want a match with Triple H at WrestleMania. And Regal's like, no. And he's like, all right, Kane, send Stephanie on down.
What do you want? I want a match with Triple H at WrestleMania, one-on-one. I can't do that. What? Put it down, please. Hey, send Stephanie down here. No, please. No. You've got what you want. You've got your match. I got a match with Triple H at WrestleMania. Yes, you've got your bloody match. Now put it down, please. I'm begging you. It's a good decision.
So,
great line.
which gets a huge pop from the crowd there. Regal's like freaking out. No.
You've got the doll, Stephanie, above his head, and Stephanie is somewhere behind the scenes, like screaming.
Yeah.
You hear her voice.
Yeah, you hear
but
her.
You don't see this body moving
She's like,
at all.
No, put me down. But you just see him. It may not even be Kane holding it. It may be a cardboard cutout of Kane too. I don't know what it is. But anyway, Regal's like, okay, fine. I'll change my mind. You can have your match with Triple H at Mania. So, again, as hokey as that part was, I just thought it was a really brilliant piece of storytelling. Just something I haven't seen in a little while, maybe since Russo left, and they kind of threaded that stuff throughout all the shows, which has been a relief because those were exhausting shows to watch. But this is just cool to see. And also, I want to just mention a sidebar here. This is also an episode of Raw where I believe it was the Dudley Boys. They were late for their match, and so Edge and Christian come out and actually win the tag titles from the Hardys with Rhino debuts here, and the last ECW champion ever debuts here. And then later on we see also Austin wasn't at the arena yet, so Coach goes to the airport to see if Austin is there when his plane arrives or something, and then he also sees the Dudley Boys walk. The Dudley Boys come walking by, and he's like, what happened? They're like, oh, someone changed our travel arrangements. Well, it turns out it was Edge and Christian. And so they finally get to the arena, and the Dudleys finally get their match they were supposed to have. So they take on Edge and Christian, and they beat them for the tag team titles on the same night when Spike Dudley debuts. So we had Edge and Christian, the Hardys, and the Dudleys all hold the titles on the same night, which is kind of neat.
I totally forgot about that.
But also, this is when I think it's Rock or Austin was late. They had their plane was late or something, so that's why Coach was there. But again, I know we're talking Taker, but all of that was just really, I wanted to put all that over because it was really cool. And again, like I said, we get the debut of Rhino and Spike Dudley. So just ECW talent is infiltrating, is slowly creeping into WWF, and in about a week, we're going to get WCW creeping into. Not
yes,
creeping in, slamming their heads through the doors. But anyway, craziness. What I told you guys, buckle up for that episode. It was nuts.
Times they are changing, man. Everything's changing here. The whole business is changing, and that's why I said on the Royal Rumble episode, 2001, maybe the craziest year in WWE history, right here, and professional wrestling history, possibly. And I'm glad you brought up the Austin Rock stuff because it is starting to get a little bit better here. Something I wanted to bring up on this episode of SmackDown, March 22nd, 2001. There's this sit-down interview between Rock and Austin with JR in the middle between them, and it totally redeems everything crappy with the Deborah stuff. Just totally makes up for all of it. My goodness, man. This segment, this promo should be shown every single day to the people in the class in developmental, honestly to the people on the main roster for that matter, and quite frankly maybe Vince McMahon should go back and watch it if he wants, instead of apologizing to the fans and saying they're going to do something different and then doing the exact same thing. Dude, Vince, I know you're listening out there. Go watch.
Somebody, Eric Bischoff's listening.
Yeah, he is. Go watch SmackDown episode 83 on the WWE Network. Watch this promo between Rock and Austin and just remember how wrestling is supposed to be done, man. This promo is it. This segment is it. It is. It's everything I want, man. Everything I want out of wrestling.
this is one where Austin's like, you don't understand. Like, I need
Yes.
that title.
Yes.
Yeah. That's, man, we should have seen it coming. His heel turn coming. Like, looking back at that.
Yeah, they
It's
totally
awesome.
built it up. And it's so believable. It's so great. It's so serious. It's just perfect.
Yeah.
Which is funny compared to this other thing I wanted to bring up. We'll get back to Undertaker in a second, but gotta do a segment of Raising Cain here.
Sure.
We've been talking about it, but I just wanted to fill in completely how we got to Kane versus Big Show versus Raven at WrestleMania, because it's a weird thing on paper, but here's how it all finally comes together. You've mentioned some of this build up, but
Sure.
Commissioner Regal is going to force Y2J, the guy he's feuding with, to face Raven in a hardcore
Because
match.
of pee-pee in his tea.
Exactly. That
We
could be
started 2 weeks ago.
that could have been a Broman of the week right there. They're going to fight in a hardcore match, Jericho and Raven. And they fight into William Regal's office. Jericho shoves Raven's face into a pile of crumpets on Regal's
no.
desk.
Oh, no.
And then Regal interferes and breaks a vase of roses over Jericho's head. And then Raven, who's been blinded by the crumpet icing in his eyes, he accidentally knocks out Regal and pins William Regal to win his match against Chris Jericho.
I don't even know what's happening.
And then an angry William Regal punishes Raven by making him defend his title, his hardcore title, in a triple threat against Big Show and Kane at WrestleMania.
One of my favorite hardcore matches of all time. by
It's
the way.
great.
And actually, the next month is probably my favorite hardcore title
Yeah.
match. So,
Man,
that's awesome.
I don't know
I
if
can't
Ra-
believe that.
I don't know if Raven takes questions on his podcast, but someone needs to ask him about that segment right there. That is hilarious. So anyway, back to our boy, Undertaker and Triple H. Triple H is going to ambush Undertaker while Taker's strolling around backstage. And Taz
Keep
is obviously...
strolling.
Yeah, strolling around. Taking
Keep
that casual...
strolling.
strolling. Taz on commentary is obviously suffering from some sort of concussions because he says, "I've never seen anyone do something like that to the Undertaker."
Literally happened last week.
Taz hadn't been on
Raw.
commentary that long. Maybe he just doesn't remember. I don't know.
I guess.
So we get back from commercial to see Taker stalking Triple H again into his dressing room, and a couple of those Keystone Cops from last week are waiting for him back there. Taker says, "Hey, I know what my rights are, and I waive all of them." So the cops have trouble getting the cuffs on the Undertaker. Taker's just rolling with the jokes here, dude. He says, "Bet if that was a donut, you could get him on there."
I love this Undertaker.
Dad joke Taker, man.
I know.
Because he goes on to say he's going to violate more than the law, and he turns to Stephanie and says, "What's it like to be married to a man who doesn't have a set?" Because at WrestleMania, this plate of bacon won't be there to protect you, as he gestures to the cops.
A plate of bacon.
The plate of bacon. Stephanie decides that she's not sure if she wants to press charges or not, so the cops are going to have to just sit and wait with Undertaker till they decide what to do. So that's going to lead to... Undertaker and Kane were supposed to fight Big Show and Triple H in a tag team match, but since Undertaker is, pending arrest, it's just going to become a handicap match here. So Taker, we see him backstage. He's forced to watch the match while sitting there in handcuffs. And Kane fights pretty hard here. No matter what Big Show does to him, Kane keeps sitting up, man. Gives him choke slam, keeps sitting up. I think he hits him with some weapons or something. They double team him, and Kane just keeps sitting up. But finally, Triple H and Big Show double team him, and Big Show gets the pin on Kane. They get a chair in the ring. Triple H does a pedigree on the chair. They're just decimating Kane, and Undertaker just can't take it anymore. He stands up. He's still handcuffed, but he just elbows all the police officers, knocks them all out, even though he's handcuffed. And we hear his Ron Simmons impression again as he just looks down at him and is like, "Damn!" and runs out. Starts heading to the ring. He knows he's going to be in trouble, but he's got to save his brother, man. The brother he fights with every other month. But
Right.
Triple H does the thing that we saw on Raw a couple weeks ago. He sits down in that folding chair across Kane's throat, starts cutting a promo on him. But Taker makes his way to the stage. The cops keep chasing after him, and Undertaker keeps assaulting them, continuing to break the law. But we find out he's not actually breaking the law here, because as Taker gets in the ring, he tries to fight Triple H and Big Show, but it's a fool's errand because he's handcuffed, and they beat him up, they destroy him, and then the cops come out to the ring and start restraining Undertaker as Triple H grabs a mic. And Triple H, again, cerebral assassin here, he's playing into that. He says, you probably figured out by now these aren't really cops. I sent the real cops home a while ago. These are just a few friends of mine. So they had...
Main Street Posse.
That would have been great. It's just Pete Gas with a fake mustache on. That would have been awesome.
So good.
Triple H instructs the cops, quote unquote, to handcuff Kane as well. Triple H chokes out Taker with a chair in the corner, and then Triple H goes for his real friend, the Sledgehammer. It's ironic here, as we mentioned all those episodes ago, Undertaker was responsible for the Sledgehammer being introduced to Triple H in that casket match, I believe, with The Rock, and Triple H used it to beat up The Rock's casket. And now it's going to come back against him here. Triple H delivers a sledgehammer to the head of The Undertaker and busts him wide open. Big Show choke slams Kane, and heels are on top here, man. Triple H says,
I told you, I warned you, and now I showed you. At WrestleMania, Dead Man Inc. goes belly up.
Man. That was a lot of stuff. That's good stuff, man.
It's intense, man. It's getting you hyped. You want to see these guys slug it out at WrestleMania. It's a real serious blood feud here.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally been a week build, right? A week and a half build or something, and it's more intensity packed into this week and a half than they can do nowadays in 4 weeks between pay-per-views. It's just crazy.
Well, talk about crazy. Here we go.
Speaking of crazy, here comes the craziest episode of Monday Night Raw that has ever happened. This is Raw 409. Clean and spray. Anyway.
Cleaning up the competition.
Cleaning them up. Giddy up 409. So, March 26th.
Man, do you remember, when did you first, what do you remember about seeing that WWF was buying out WCW? Man, what are your memories of that?
Well, I mean, literally the week before they talked. I mean, Bischoff was on Nitro on like an audio call. Remember, he had an audio call through the PA. He's like, just to let you know, we're getting the money together, and Fusion Media is going to be buying it. And, next week's going to be a Night of Champions. All the titles will be defended. They'd already had that set up. And I guess the goal was to take a break, and then swiftly, like a thief in the night over the weekend, I remember just reading, I don't know if you told me or what, but I remember just reading, no, WWF is buying them, and we're just both flabbergasted. Yeah, exactly. Jinx. So, I mean, there's no other word for it. It's just I just don't get it, man. It's like seeing Sonic the Hedgehog on Nintendo right now. You just don't, honestly, man, think about it. It's just weird.
Yeah.
You don't see that. You don't see Pepsi Coke. You see Pepsi Cola or Coke.
If Marvel just all of a sudden bought out DC, it's Batman and Superman, they're going to be in the Avengers next, whatever the next one's called.
Exactly. They'll be in Avengers Endgame in the next couple months. They'll be the ones that help undo what Thanos did. It's just that's how surreal it was to us wrestling nerds. Us marks. It was just blew my mind. I've always mentioned. I mean, I was a WCW guy from day one. I love the WWF, especially in this year. But I still, and I think those last 3 months of WCW were some of the best stuff they had done in a year and a half since '99. I mean, those last 3 months were fantastic in my opinion. I mean, the ratings don't show that, but I remember all the cruiserweight stuff and all the main event. It was fun.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't.
It die.
It still had its issues, but I think
2
2000 WCW was so bad and so many people tuned out after that I think people don't remember or forget or weren't even watching, and they just lump 2001 WCW into that. And that's what ended up driving out of business. But there was some fun stuff going on back then, especially with the cruiserweights. There was a lot of great, which there always was, but there was in this time too. A lot of great cruiserweight stuff going on. A lot of fresh faces, the new blood. You know, the Natural Born Thrillers guys. There was some fun stuff going on.
Some ECW guys trickled in too these last couple months as well.
Yeah. So, Booker T was still doing great stuff. You still had DDP there. Big Papa Pump was he was a great heel champion there for that run. It's underrated those last 3 months of WCW here, and we enjoyed that last pay-per-view, but it was so out of nowhere to hear that WWF was buying them out that weekend. Just reading that online, being shocked by it, and I vividly remember. I think we were on the phone the whole night. This episode, watching Raw and Nitro, the simulcast, flipping in between them, not knowing what could happen. Man, I don't know if it's ever been more exciting than that.
I know, it was crazy. So, I'm covering Raw here, but there was obviously an hour of business beforehand that had transpired on Nitro. Because Nitro was on from 8 to 10 at this point, I think. And just 2 hours they cut back, and so those stuff had happened an hour before, but none of it involves Taker, so I'm not going to touch on it. But it's just weird too that the go home show for the greatest WrestleMania of all time, which is basically also the go home forever show for WCW. It's just you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, I guess, to borrow a song that would have been popular a little bit before this time. But anyway, this is simulcast Raw, man. That's what I'm covering here, and I'm excited because I don't know what else we could say new that hasn't been said before, but it's just crazy. We've been through, as we cover Talking Taker, we're covering the business as well, from November 1990. We've seen the beginnings of Raw itself, being a 1 hour, basically jobber fest with Taker in the main event of episode 1, and we've seen the beginning of Nitro, the Monday Night Wars, the takeover by WCW of the business, the craziness of Russo's booking style, the re-takeover of WWF, WCW's demise, and we've gone through every single July we've gotten to here on Talking Taker and kind of recapped what's going on, and can't do that anymore. It's official, so...
Yeah, and that's why we're doing this podcast about The Undertaker, because who else has been there through all of that, through so much different stuff? There are, of course, people that have popped in and out for segments of it, for chunks of it. You could say Hulk Hogan has been a part of every era, sort of. He'll pop in and make an appearance, but no one has been so integral and such a pivotal part of all these different things, and we're going to see more and more changes over the next 17 years that we're going to cover here on this show, and it's just, he's the cornerstone. He's the one guy that's there through it all.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all that aside, we're going home to WrestleMania here in a couple days, and Vince is on the phone backstage with Steph, and he tells her and Triple H to enjoy their vacation. They get the week off before Mania to rest up, and he's booked Taker and Kane to face Rock and Austin in a tag team match. So, again, 4 of the major players, I take those 4 guys and maybe put Mick Foley and then Triple H right underneath that as the main 6 guys for the Attitude Era, and this is, some people would call this, this WrestleMania the end of the Attitude Era, because WWF has won, but it's amazing that the go home show, for this Mania has the main event's going to be Taker and Kane versus Rock and Austin. That's just nuts, man.
What a match!
Yeah, so we see a replay from what you just recapped about SmackDown and that sledgehammer shot, and JR tells us that Taker got 16 stitches after that. So backstage, we get the Brothers of Destruction interviewed by Hermie, and he's asking what Taker thinks about Triple H having the night off, and Taker's like, "How does it make me feel? If you were Triple H, you wouldn't take a night." Or he said, "If you were Triple H, wouldn't you take a night off as well?" He said, "Dang right you would." He said, "But guess what? I'm a patient man, and he can hide behind McMahon. He can hide behind that skank old lady." Yeah, and he can hide behind all the police that he wants, but he can't hide from the fact that WrestleMania is 6 days away. 16 stables and the taste of my own blood made me hungry, And the only thing that's going to stop this hunger is these soup bones right here covered in Triple H's blood. So getting that vampire Taker back out.
I love it.
Yeah, man. He then goes on to, basically warn Rock and Austin that, if you're not on the same page, you might not make it to Mania. And then he says, "You got anything else?" And Hermie just kind of looks at him and goes, "I didn't think so." They walk away. It's perfect. Good stuff. And then investigative journalist Michael Cole interviews Austin backstage about the match, and Cole just literally stares at him and just walks away. He doesn't even answer. It was probably a shoot. It was not a pre-tape. It was probably live. Austin's like, "You're an idiot." Just walk away. So, yeah, I love that. And then, so later on, we see Rock and Austin having a really intense conversation about teaming up. But, of course, they're like, when the match is over, all bets are off. And the main event here, again, like I said, Brothers of Destruction versus Rock and Austin. And Kane enters and then Taker rides out, and then Rock comes out, and Austin comes out, and then JR even says, well, basically what I just said, is that, this has the 4 of the most popular men in the WWF, and he says maybe even 4 of the biggest superstars in the history of the WWF. So,
absolutely.
And some people would say Kane may not be, but he's iconic, man. He didn't have no one's going out and get a best of Kane, matches DVD or anything, but
are you kidding me? I have one of those.
It's he wasn't See No Evil, so I did see that in theater, so it was good. But anyway, I mean, just saying, like, even JR is saying that here, and he's right. It's a fun, really quick match, basically. Probably not even 6 or 7 minutes, but Taker chokeslams Austin and is going to get him up for the last ride. But as he does, of course, Mr. Vacation himself, Triple H, runs down, hits Taker in the back with a chair, and so I'm not sure where he vacations. He vacations close by, I guess. And then Austin covers Taker and pins him 6 days before WrestleMania. So
interesting.
Taker takes the loss here, and Triple H bails, and we get a close-up on Taker's face, and he's just basically burning a hole through Triple H with his eyes. So that's how we leave that go-home show of Raw. And again, like I said, the last Raw of the Monday Night Wars era. So it goes off the air. Taker's burning a hole through him, and that's about it. So.
And that takes us to SmackDown here, just a few days before WrestleMania 17, March 29th, 2001, episode 84. And it's going to kick off with Triple H and Undertaker here. Triple H starts the show off with Stephanie and some cops. I guess they're cops. I don't know if they're his friends. I don't know what they are. But they come out to guard Triple H.
I have a thought of why Kid Rock had to change his music they had to change music from Kid Rock to Limp Bizkit.
Why's that?
It was because Kid Rock was smelling pig from a mile away.
You had to. You can't help yourself.
I couldn't help it.
I can
Anyway.
smell a pig from a mile away.
Exactly. Which is also Jeff Jarrett's theme song in WCW.
Cowboy. Anyway, Triple H, he gets right to the heart of things here, man. This segment's awesome. We're getting back to what this feud's all about. Triple H says he asked a simple question a few weeks ago. How can you be the best in the business and not be given a title shot at WrestleMania? He says that question offended someone, and the person who answered my question was someone whose ego overrode his intelligence. He's talking about Undertaker, obviously. Says Taker's without a doubt a legend, without a doubt a phenom, and without a doubt he made the single biggest mistake of his career when he said that I couldn't beat him. And a great heel line, he says, up until now, I've never. I may not have ever beaten Undertaker, but I've never really tried.
That's perfect.
That's perfect, man. He says Taker's been doing a lot of talking and a lot of bleeding, and he's been doing a lot of butt kicking. On the other hand, so at WrestleMania, it's all going to come to an end because Taker will get a chance to play the game, and when you play the game, you're going to lose. So Undertaker, of course, has something to say about that. So he makes his way out to the stage, and kudos to the fans in the crowd. There's like a whole row, and every fan's holding up a letter that spells out Dead Man Inc. Out
nice.
there. Really well done. Kudos to you guys 17 years ago. And Taker cuts another good promo on his side, too, man. He says, let me see if I've got this right. If I play the game, I lose. Is that right? Well, let me give you a little bit of history lesson.
When I was just a little bitty dead man, I had to go to school just like everybody else. Unlike everybody else, though, when it came time for recess, they used to send my little home. You know why they sent me home? Because I don't play games.
There you go.
Dad joke taker. Giving you a run
Rudolph.
for your money,
Yeah.
man. So Taker goes on. He's saying, you must be pretty proud of yourself for those 16 staples you put in my head. But you're in my yard. Goes back to that again and says, sometimes when you hop over the fence, you wind up in the dead man's yard. And that dog in the yard,
Ew.
it don't move. So what do? You move it a little closer, and that dog still sits there. You move it a little closer, and that dog raises up its head. And that's when you realize that's what that dog wanted all along. So now you're standing there, Triple H. You're too scared to fight. It's too far to run. And that, my friend, is when this dog gets his bone.
There you go.
He is feeling it, man.
He is, man. Big dog in his yard. So he's like the dog from Sandlot, then.
That's exactly what I was thinking. What's that dog's name?
I don't know.
Oh, God. I can't remember.
Cujo. The Beast, I think is what they
The
call it.
Beast, that's
Beast,
right.
Yeah.
Taker starts making his way towards the ring, and Stephanie starts screaming, reminding Taker he's in violation of the restraining order if he gets any closer. And Taker says, "Princess, shut your face."
Does he really?
Yes.
Oh, he's so good.
Taker says he made a few phone calls tonight. The first one was to a lawyer, and the second one was to a bail bondsman. So if I go to jail tonight, rest assured I'll be out in 12 hours. And the third call was to 911 because he believes Triple H is about to be in the need of some medical help. So that's awfully considerate, man.
Sure.
Taker goes after Triple H. He heaves Triple H into the cops, knocking them all over, wears out
Yes.
Triple H. The cops can't hold him back. He continues to just destroy Triple H. Triple H bumping like crazy, finally flies out of the ring, and the cops arrest Undertaker as Triple H and Stephanie cower out of fear. And just a great heat segment here building up. WrestleMania, man, getting you hyped up for it one last time.
Oh, yeah, man. That's good stuff, man. I remember all that pretty vividly, so it's just fun to go back and revisit this, especially because it's, like I said, it's a match we've been looking forward to covering here, and glad it's finally here, man. So,
well, Triple H gets one more thing here on this show, just when we think that's going to be the end of it.
Oh, yeah.
Later on, we hear Undertaker's music play out in the arena. About halfway through the show, Roland comes on, but it's actually Triple H coming out. He rides the Undertaker's motorcycle onto the stage. He brings out Stephanie, who is wielding the sledgehammer. And so the cerebral assassin strokes his hammer and demolishes the Undertaker's bike. He then looks off to the side of the stage and wheels the bike all the way off of it, just completely destroying this beautiful Titan bike. And it's a great segment, man. Triple H and Stephanie never say a word. They just let their actions do all the talking here.
Perfect.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
He didn't need to cut a 20-minute promo. He already cut one, but didn't need to say anything else here. He just does it. And it's a great final touch, final punctuation mark on this build-up into WrestleMania to build it up even more. But we'll say at this point, I do think we've already seen more people steal or destroy or desecrate Undertaker's bike than we ever did with the urn or the casket. That seems to be the go-to every single month now. So we're getting a little bit played out, but whatever. These two guys make it work.
No, he seems like he doesn't learn,
No.
from his it's also just an easy go-to, But this was really cool because I don't remember anybody really demolishing his bike like this.
Not quite like that.
At this point. So, do you think it's where Triple H got his ideas for his last several WrestleMania entrances when he comes out on the motorcycle?
He's inspired here. Yeah.
He dug back into the archives. So.
I think you're right. Would credit Undertaker for that.
Absolutely. Why not? Admitted everything else. So, well, man, that brings us to WrestleMania X717, XVII, whatever you want to call it, So, are you ready to do this thing?
April 1st, 2001, April Fool's Day. Houston, Texas, where I guess that's why they've been announcing Undertaker as from Houston.
You know,
that hometown pop.
It makes sense now, honestly, because remember last week or week before we were talking about how we didn't, really realize why or anything, but it probably, honestly, Vince was like, oh, dadgummit, pal, it's going to be in Houston. Well, you're from Houston.
You're from Houston now.
Yeah, so anyway, this is the first WrestleMania held in Texas, which I thought was kind of neat.
Not the last.
Not the last, no, but the first, and it won't be the last because they'll probably go back to Dallas every 3-4 years.
Yeah, I
would imagine. They can probably bounce around between MetLife, Orlando, and Dallas every third year and be fine.
That's pretty much the plan. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is just such a good show, dude. In so many ways, I feel like it lays the template for kind of what the modern WrestleMania is and has been ever since. We've seen WrestleMania evolve on this show as we've been covering all of them since WrestleMania 7, and it was a very different type of thing WrestleMania was back in 1991 when we covered our first one. It's become this huge, giant, mega thing, and we've seen some elements of it on some of these other ones, but I think it really comes into place here at 17.
I think all the elements are in play here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The look of it, the feel of it, the card, all of it.
The set, the set and the entranceway, the ramp being so daggone long, which is perfect for our character here we're covering. So, but because we didn't cover to WrestleMania 16, because he wasn't on it, but that one they started the fan access stuff back then. I think that. And remember they broadcast them on TV and stuff, and this one I think they still had it. But this is, like you said, they're really getting into what WrestleMania is going to become, and what it is now, and just how much of an entertainment aspect and all the cool stuff it brings to the city it's going to be held in too. So really, really neat. And this is also the debut of, like I said, our new commentary team for pay-per-view here on Talking Taker. We got JR and Paul Heyman. So, man, I love King, but it's really nice and refreshing to hear somebody else like Paul Heyman here. So he's great.
Paul Heyman, he's great in many different ways than the King was. So great to have him here. He's going to add a lot in this very short time that we're going to see him.
Yeah, and again, we can't speak about this pay-per-view without speaking of, again, I hate to put these guys over, but Limp Bizkit make this show, between Roland and between My Way and the video, and it's just
thank goodness we get that, and it's not cut out of
for real. Can you imagine how awful that would have been if it was a different song playing behind that Rockin' Austin promo? That'd be trash. But,
yes, I can, because we've seen it so many times. We've seen the music cut out. I can imagine how awful it would be. Jeez.
I thought that was rhetorical, but it was a real question.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. This whole show, top to bottom, is awesome. TLC match is great. Hardcore match, but I think one of my favorite matches of all time is the match that precedes this one. The Gimmick Battle Royal, dude. I love it so much. I watched it again yesterday, watching this match. Every year, I pray to the good Lord above that we might get another one.
I know.
And yet, we still have not.
What was so special about 17 that we needed a Gimmick Battle Royal? Why not have it every other year? Why can it only be one? It's like the Highlander, man. It can only be one.
I'm ready for it. I honestly thought we would get a WCW Battle Royal when WrestleMania came to Atlanta. I was for sure in my brain that was going to happen. And I was so sad that it didn't. Because it was 10 years. It was 10 years after WCW closed that WrestleMania was in Atlanta. It was like, perfect. Do WCW Battle Royal. Nope.
Exactly. Man, and the commentary is Heenan and Okerlund for that.
Good.
Could you imagine if they just stayed ringside for our next match for Taker and Triple H? Oh my goodness.
That'd have been so awesome.
We could have Heenan back on commentary, dude. Like a decade later. It'd have been awesome.
Oh, stop making me excited for things that didn't happen. Let's talk about something that did happen. Motorhead playing Triple H out to the ring. Lemmy, we are Motorhead.
We are Motorhead. We're gonna kick your ass.
Dude, as a 15-year-old kid, I have to admit, man, I grew up on country music, and when Motorhead started playing Triple H's music, that was literally the first time I had ever heard of or seen the band Motorhead. I had never heard of them before, and I'm ashamed to admit that I had never heard of this legendary band, but dude, they were awesome here.
They were, man. I knew who Motorhead was, but I wasn't a fan. I mean, I still don't celebrate their catalog.
No,
or anything,
I wouldn't
but
say that.
Nothing. I mean, I love the Triple H "My Time" song. That's my favorite of his entrance music. But this one is just perfect, man. And having Motorhead do it, have them sing it here live and in living color was awesome. And it's always weird to me when the heel gets that, the live performance, kind of like CM Punk did back at WrestleMania 29 against The Undertaker, I think it was. But what's it about him getting the heels over with his with the live performances? I don't know. But anyway, it still rules, man. It just freaking rules. And Triple H is barking out like a kid in a candy store too. When he gets on the ring post and he's pointing to Lemmy and stuff, it's just great. But one thing that bugs me about Lemmy, and his microphone's like above his head and it's like hanging down into his mouth. It's like, I don't understand it. As someone who is,
that's how he likes it, man.
I never sang my shows.
He likes
like
to
that.
sing up into it. Yeah,
he does, man. But there's also something to be said about a lead singer slapping the bass, dude. Like,
true.
He's not playing guitar. He's not playing drum. He's slapping the bass up there. I love that, dude. You got to respect that. So.
Such a great part. It gives it this really big match feel. It's awesome. And not to be outdone, dude, Undertaker gets cool entrance here as he finally gets to really rev up that motorcycle for a good 2 seconds. He zooms down the aisle. He gets it up to like 15 miles an hour, man, going heading down that aisle for the first time, which is always cool to see at these stadium shows.
Yeah, no, he opens it up wide, man.
He does.
For, like you said, short of the distance it is, it's still a long distance for anywhere else to walk. So he gets to open it up real quick there. This was nice to hear and see. I just remember how epic that was to watch, because I do not remember watching this live. I remember renting it later. I have this on VHS actually downstairs in my garage. Hopefully that picture will be on Facebook or Twitter by the time this comes available. If not, we'll put it on afterwards. So yeah. In fact, little caveat here, or little sidebar. Years ago, before the network, I found these VHSs, and I had my dad convert them to DVD for me in his living room. Well, when you do that, you have to listen to it. And he gave it back to me later. He's like, son, there's a lot of cussing on that. He's like, especially at the very end there, he's like, there's lots of stuff. Because that's when Austin turns heel, and JR's going bananas and like, that son of a, and everything. So my dad was like, son, I just don't know how you watch this stuff. But yeah, thanks, Dad.
He's not wrong.
He's not, no. But anyway, so I have this on VHS and made-at-home DVD. So.
Nice. I have the official DVD, but
I have that as well.
They all work. It's all good.
They do.
Absolutely.
They do. But you didn't get this live either, did you?
No, I didn't watch this one. No. I didn't really start doing that till watch the next couple.
Year.
And then we started kind of doing it every year after that. But yeah, I got this
DVD.
Wait.
Did y'all watch this at Kevin's house?
No, not this one.
No, that was 19.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Anyway, dude, I just want to say when Taker comes out, man, he points his finger to the crowd, man, like he's Babe Ruth, man. He's calling his shot. I just love it. He just points out at the crowd and.
Did he point out to the production area where they're going to head up here in just a few minutes?
That would have been great.
I think that's what it was, calling a shot.
But JR's like Houston's own Undertaker, so again, it all makes sense here now. And he really does get a big hero's welcome, man.
Oh, yeah. This crowd is all the way live.
Yeah.
These two guys, they don't waste any time, man. That's one of my favorite things that I've learned about The Undertaker through doing this podcast. We've seen it so much as he doesn't wait around, man. He so many matches we've seen, they just start fighting out in the aisleway, and that's what happens here with Triple H. Even before the lights go up and the music starts, they are fighting outside by the ringside area because they hate each other, and they've been giving each other sledgehammer shots and chair shots and been arrested in a restraining order, so they don't have a lockup and a test of strength. They throw fists at each other.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's just funny because those first few years of his matches we covered were all him turning his back and the person attacking him from behind.
Yes.
And now as we transition to him just not giving a crap, he beats you up in the aisleway. He beats
learned
you
his
up on the
lesson,
outside.
man.
Yeah, he did. It took him 9 years, but he got it. So, but yeah, and then they start fighting out there, and then Taker takes a butt bump through the Spanish announce table, which I guess was it a new table that they had put up because the one broke earlier?
Yeah, I forget.
Something?
I think it was maybe this Shane and Vince match.
Yeah,
the
I
table
think it
broke,
was.
so there's a cheap little
There's
table.
a regular folding table.
Taker's or Triple H not supposed to go through it, but he just sits on it and goes right through it, man. It's like the earliest table spot I've ever seen in a match.
Yeah, yeah. And JR at this point tells us that Taker is 8-0 at WrestleMania. So as they roll into the ring, the match officially begins. But yeah, is that the first time we really get it as a stated as a thing?
No,
or was that last year?
They've mentioned it
2 years ago.
I think even. I want to say WrestleMania 11, like they mentioned, is undefeated at WrestleMania, but this is when it really starts coming into play.
Right.
It has been mentioned before, it has been brought up, but yeah, this one is where we really start talking about it every single year.
Yeah.
But even though it's not really part of the storyline yet,
sure,
it's still
not
part
yet.
of things here. There's a lot of play-by-play here. We'll try not to just wear you down with all of it, but just to tell the story of the match here. They get back in the ring, and Undertaker does another one of his signature spots that I didn't realize till we started doing this podcast. But every time, man, he's got somebody in the corner, and the referee starts counting them, and Undertaker just gives the referee a look. Mike Chioda in this case, and the referee just backs up. Sometimes they take a bump just off the Undertaker looking at him a lot of times. I love it, man. I love the consistency from the Dead Man days all the way to this. He's still got that part of his repertoire.
Yeah, absolutely. He never changes that part. It's great.
Yep.
And, dude, Triple H takes this huge back body drop that only AJ Styles takes them like this nowadays, man.
Well,
it is phenomenal.
He's playing Ric Flair in the first 5 minutes of
he
this
is.
match. He is bumping all over the place, whipping his hair around. It's really funny to see.
Triple H. He was arguably one of the best workers at this point. In his
No
career.
doubt about it.
There's no doubt in my mind. It's a shame what happens to him next month. And he's never the same afterward. But at this point, 2000, 2001, those are his years, man, in the ring. He's incredible.
Well, if Rock and Austin are 1 and 2, these guys are 3 and 4 in the company, man, or 1A and 2A. I mean, you can even argue that. They go on second from the top here, and they're just as important, just as pivotal. You know, they don't have the title, but, I mean, you could put them right there in with Rock and Austin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, like I said, not to give too much play-by-play, but Taker gives a running power slam, and JR's like, oh, he's going to go for a tombstone, but he doesn't. So
something we brought up before.
Yeah, and Heyman mentions then at this point, he's like, I've known The Undertaker since he broke into the business, which is probably true. I mean, I don't think he's lying. I think he literally didn't know him since then, back when he was old Texas Red or whatever he was. So, but it's just neat. But then Taker goes, he yells old school. You know, as we said, he only coined his own catchphrases here. And he goes up to the top for old school. But Triple H, you know, that wily old veteran, he throws him into the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
He throws him a long way across, which is pretty cool. So
Taker's going to start trying to work over the neck area of The Undertaker. He gives him that neck breaker that he used for a finisher very, very briefly. Gives him another neck breaker and does one of our favorite spots ever. He goes for a pin and gets 2, and then he keeps going for pins. Keeps shoving Undertaker's shoulder down. That classic Flair move again here. I love it. It's my favorite heel thing ever. Just keep going for the pin. Just keep doing it.
I know. And I say it every time. I wish somebody would win by that way. Someone should win that way. The person kicking out gets out of gas or out of wind. They can't kick out anymore. It'd be perfect.
Well, things start to get out of hand here as Triple H is arguing with the ref and then heads outside and just literally just throws Mark Yeaton over the guardrail, man, the timekeeper, and grabs his sledgehammer that was hiding behind the timekeeper's table.
Yeah. So he already brought it out there. Oh, one thing I want to mention, Stephanie's not out here with him because of the restraining order. So that's a key component. So he can't rely on her to do his dastardly work. He's got to resort to, hardwood, I guess, here. His toy.
Well, JR, has to stop himself from making this pun because Triple H grabs that sledgehammer and holds it up erect at his crotch, and JR's you can see in the camera shot, he's just like, I really want to say something yet. I can't say it.
Yeah, it's definitely very unintentionally suggestive. It's weird to see. But he gets in the ring, and Triple H basically just throws Mike Chioda out of the way, which should have been a DQ. But and he goes to hit Taker with it, but Mike Chioda grabs the hammer from out of his hands, so he doesn't ruin the match, I guess. So Chioda's excited about the match. He wants to see
these guys go at it.
Yeah.
And Hunter tries to tell Chioda, "That's my hammer," but
that's my hammer. You had some ketchup or his harsh browns?
Taker turns Triple H around. Triple H reverses that, goes for the pedigree. Taker reverses that and does the patented toss. Another one of our favorite moves.
Yes.
Tosses Triple H into Mike Chioda, squishing him into the corner there. So, but that's not what knocks Mike Chioda out. He's only phased by that.
Right. He's only phased by that. He gets a 2 count. Because Mike Chioda recovers, and then Taker just stands up, kicks Mike Chioda, and then elbows him in the back. All he's laying on the ground, and JR's like, "Well, Taker's guilty as sin there for attacking the referee." So
yeah, the babyface knocked out the referee right here.
Right, but all he did was kick him and elbow drop him.
One stomp. One elbow.
He must have punctured a kidney. A lung. He must have severed some discs in his spinal column. I'm not sure, ruptured a spleen. I don't know what happened, because when he hits that one kick and one elbow drop, Mike Chioda is as good as dead for the rest of the match.
He's legally dead for 15 minutes, I believe. Here, it is comical, and
it is.
Honestly. I can't give this match 5 stars or anything because of how absurd. He doesn't move. It's not that he's hurt and selling his injury. He just lies on the mat face down for almost the entirety of the rest of the match, completely motionless. It's hilarious. I had completely forgotten about all that.
Me too. Totally forgot about it.
Well, that's going to allow Taker and Triple H to feud out into the arena here. Undertaker tosses Hunter outside, and Heyman confirming on commentary he believes Undertaker has criminal intentions here. Triple H broke his $30,000 bike, put 16 stitches on his head. He says Undertaker doesn't care about the match. He just wants to inflict pain on the Undertaker as they start to fight into the crowd.
Yeah, they go, Attitude Era style, brawling into the crowd, and they fight up to the quote-unquote technical area, I think JR says, which is where all the sound mixers and cameras are and stuff, and usually at a house show or even a televised show nowadays, that's where all the tarps are.
That's where all
people
the...
that don't come anymore.
Yeah, God. That's where all the Dell monitors were at this point, man.
Yeah.
It's funny to see all these old, giant computer monitors out there.
Yeah, but man, the crowd loves this part, man, because they're getting, when your favorite superstars and wrestlers are out there with you, it's awesome. But Taker is bouncing his fist off Triple H's proboscis. That's what JR says.
Come again?
Proboscis, which must have been on the Word of Day calendar, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and correct him. It's actually a proboscis, because being someone who used to teach about this kind of stuff in high school. Yeah, that's what a mosquito has.
I'm going to take your word for it.
You can.
I don't know what either one of those are. So.
Proboscis. It's like a mosquito's, long snout, basically.
It sounds like a pretentious cracker.
It could be. Is that like a very arrogant white man? White savior?
Yeah, William Regal.
Okay. A proboscis.
He's a bit of a proboscis.
Anyway, that's our word of the day from Vince's calendar.
He likes to eat proboscis with his crumpets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Grey Poupon on his proboscis.
Always.
So.
What happens in this production area, Travis?
Oh, well, they fight up to the rig in here, and then Triple H nails Taker in the head and in the back with a chair over and over and over again. I did not remember him hitting him that many times.
Yeah, he lays it in, man.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not a work. Those aren't working hit shots there. So, and then he goes for another one, and Taker's going to goozle him. And I'll let you take it from here. This is a fantastic sight to see.
Undertaker catches Triple H in the goozle, lifts him up, choke slams him off of the staging. And the way they shoot it at first, it seems like Triple H looks like he fell 20 feet. But the replay show he actually only falls maybe like 5, 6, 7 feet maybe onto a padded platform also. But still.
Oh, no, it's a concrete floor.
Excuse me. Yeah. Still, it is a very cool spot. Especially, and the way they shot it made it look really good. The replays kind of gave it away a little bit more, but that was cool. What takes it even a step further is Taker just says screw it, and he stands up and drops a flying elbow off the top of the platform onto Triple H down there on the padding below, and that really takes it up a notch. That was awesome.
It was, man, and I honestly had forgotten about that elbow drop. I remember the choke slam like it's yesterday, but the elbow drop, I forgot. And you know what? Thank God he didn't hit Mike Chioda with that elbow drop. He'd be in the hospital.
He'd be 6 feet under.
He would be.
Or 3 feet under, or 11 feet under. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, yeah, well, referees such wimps. So, he can't take any kind of beating. So. Anyway. But, he hits that huge elbow. Then he just starts wailing away on Triple H's head, and they eventually make their way back to the ring. They're walking back to the
EMTs come and check on them while they're laying out there. Well, they should have been checking on Chioda. They checked on Triple H and Undertaker instead.
Someone get that man an EMT. So, at this point they're walking by some signs that says, or a sign that says "Welcome Home, Taker," which I like to point out the unique signs in the audience. That was a really good one. So it's kind of hard to follow them on the way back to the ring. You don't really see them until Taker just kind of throws Triple H over the guardrail. And like you said, man, he's doing his best Ric Flair impression. Hunter is. So I love it, man. I love it.
They get back in the ring finally. Undertaker looks to the corner and finds the sledgehammer still laying there, along with Mike Chioda, literally dead. He has got to have suffered some sort of brain damage from being unconscious from this long. He's been in a coma for 15 minutes. That's not healthy, man.
It's not.
Paul Heyman doesn't care, though. He says on commentary, "Who cares? It's just a referee. They're subhuman." He says to JR, "Can you even name a referee that you like?"
Oh, yikes. I'll challenge him for this day and age. Can you even name a referee?
True.
The only one
they
I
don't
can
have
name
names.
is Mike Chioda.
Yeah.
This is the only one I can name nowadays. Or, Charles Robinson.
Chuck Robinson.
CR.
Well, Undertaker grabs the sledgehammer. He points to the scar on his forehead that Triple H gave him a few weeks ago. And Undertaker goes to just absolutely murder Triple H with the sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Like, reels it back to try and actually hammer Triple H down. But thankfully, Triple H gives Undertaker a Death Valley kick to save his life right here.
Yeah, he does. So he's trying to murder two people in one match. So and then Triple H comes to Taker with the hammer as well. He's got it now. He eats a big boot, and then we go just this slugfest. I think Paul Heyman, I didn't write it down. I think he says this is what they call good old fashioned slug time. I think it's what he says.
Oh, good old fashioned slug time.
I think it's slug time. So never mind. I'm going to leave that joke aside. So anyway, Triple H actually gets Undertaker up for a tombstone, and Taker reverses it and winds up hitting the tombstone.
Yeah, which we have not seen really here in this
era.
This era of Taker, man. He's been all about the last ride in the chokeslam, and now we get a tombstone out of nowhere. Very cool for WrestleMania.
Very, very neat to see him. I guess he's used it at every WrestleMania then, and that I guess that's probably so. Because, unfortunately, Mike Chioda is still out, so he can't count the three there. So then Taker's going to go for the last ride to put Triple H away, and as he does this, Triple H sneakily reaches down and grabs that sledgehammer, and I love what happens next. It's cool.
Such a cool spot. Undertaker lifts up Triple H for the powerbomb, and you all remember this. Triple H has got the sledgehammer in his hand and just whacks Undertaker over the head with it, busting those stitches wide open, man. And Triple H gets a great near fall here. 2 9/10 as Kyoto has finally revived just in time to count this pinfall, but not enough, man. Great false finish. Easily could have believed it. Such a creative spot. I don't know which guy or which writer came up with it, but it's an awesome, awesome moment.
And the way Taker sells it, he just collapses. And Hunter falls right on his chest. It wasn't a pretty bump, but that's what made it really cool looking. It made it realistic, He just, he doesn't flat back, but he just kind of collapses, and then Triple H falls right on him. And then, like you said, ref only gets 2, and we see Taker, he's busted open. Triple H is beating on him in the corner, the turnbuckle, and he's going up, basically doing like a 10 punch, standing on the middle rope.
Yep.
And this is where we get the debut of, something that we're going to see from now on. And, Triple H is punching him in the head, and Taker just reaches down into his guts, I guess you could say, and gets one last hurrah for this match. And he winds up lifting up Triple H for the last ride out of the corner. Gives him a big old wedgie as he lifts him up like he does, and nails the last ride out of the corner right into the center of the ring. Gets a 3 count at 18 minutes and 19 seconds, and that hometown crowd just blows up, man.
Huge ovation here.
Yeah.
As JR notes, and we'll note here, The Undertaker goes to 9-0 in the WrestleMania streak. Big win over Triple H, a much-needed win, I would say, and a much-needed performance from Undertaker. He's still been top guy. He's still been Taker. He's still been up near, had some main event matches near the top of the card. But, man, this was a breath of fresh air. Easily, I think you would agree, best match of this run so far since his return. I would say probably the best since those his matches with Shawn Michaels. Probably his best in years, man, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, man. You might be right. I mean, that second one with Kurt Angle was really good, but this is definitely the best one in this Biker Taker era. So, man, it's good stuff. And it's just really, like I said, it's a great first chapter in their trilogy. And I didn't realize how many callbacks from their other 2 matches, it calls back to this match. Because I didn't go back and watch this match before they wrestled in 2011 and 12, or even this year multiple times. But it's just a lot of callbacks to this match in those, which is really neat. So he celebrates, got blood trickling down his face, and he gets on the motorcycle and, like I said, burns it up the rampway again, and gets to the top of the ramp and raises that fist to the hometown crowd and soaks it in. The crowd loves it, and it's crazy to think how WrestleMania is set up. A lot of times nowadays, you have that filler match. Like, if this were nowadays, you'd have had this match, then the gimmick battle royal, then Rock and Austin. But the crowd is still hot for Rock and Austin. They didn't need a come down spot. That's what they call that match in between. It's the come down spot. Like they didn't need that here. They had the gimmicky, hilarious, one, and then they had this, which could have main evented, and then they have the main event. It's amazing to see that. This
made me think that the problem nowadays, it's not that the shows are too long, because this show was 4 hours. It's not that. It's that the problem is the stories. The problem is the storytelling that's going on before the match, during the match, after the match, because this is a whole show that the crowd is hot for the entire time, all night long. They're into every match. Every match is different. Every match tells a different type of story, and a different type of story with guys that people are invested in. So you can do a 4-hour show, you can do a 6-hour show if you've got people that characters that people are invested in, and you got guys that know how to tell a story, and these guys do. Triple H and Undertaker definitely did here. A must-watch if you've never seen it before. A great match and a great, like you said, great kickoff to a trilogy and a rivalry that we're going to revisit over and over again, and a little bit more in the months to come here in different formation as we keep rolling all the way through the Undertaker's last ride on to Backlash 2001 on next week's episode. So we'll talk about that as the Brothers of Destruction begin a feud with the two-man power trip.
Love the two-man power trip, so it's a shame it got cut short because of his injury, but good stuff. Yeah, we'll look forward to covering that, and we peel back the curtain here. It may be next week, maybe we're going to try to get an episode out next week, so for in time for, I guess it'll be right after Christmas, right? So right between Christmas and New Year, so we're going to do our best with our schedule and our busyness we have going on. We'll try to get that out, but if not, we'll get it up soon after that, and may have to take a hiatus or something if we do, right? A couple weeks or something, maybe. We'll see what happens.
Just be on the lookout, folks. We try to get these out to you every Friday, so I would encourage you listeners out there, if you're not already, to go subscribe. That's the best way to make sure you get every episode without missing one on this journey. We are available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, other services as well. Those are the main ones. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and you can guarantee you'll get every episode delivered to you as soon as they post. I don't post them on social media until Fridays, but they do go into the podcast feed usually Thursday night, so you can get a little bit early, make sure you don't miss an episode. And with the holidays going on, we're going to do our best to get an episode out next Friday. It may be a day or two late, or we'll let you know on social media if we need to postpone it beyond that. But we're going to try to get it out there. That is going to be our next one, no matter what, though. It's going to be Backlash 2001, so you can go ahead and watch along with that one and join us for it. We'd love to hear your comments on this one, your memories, your moments there of WrestleMania X7, of this feud, of this rivalry between Undertaker and Triple H. And you can let us know on those different podcast services. You can leave a comment there, but we'd really love for you to connect on social media at Talking Taker on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Very active on all those. We love to chat with you and interact with you. We thank all our fans out there for interacting with you. I know the Bottom Line podcast is going to be excited as we talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker intersecting yet again here, and encourage you to check them out on their journey as well. And thank you guys.
They bought a shirt from us, didn't they?
They did. Thanks for supporting us. We do appreciate it. Absolutely. I'll give you that $1 we made. I'll pass it on to you, man.
Just put it back in the pot, man.
Okay.
Put it in there. Getting some new stuff. But and also, didn't you ask somebody or you asked about our people's memories about this match, and I think Turco responded too, didn't he? He remembered Kyoto taking that long nap during this match too.
I'm about to go take one myself after this.
Oh yeah, me too. It's late.
I was gonna say something else.
Not a dirt nap though.
No, not a dirt nap. Shoot. Of course, this is Friday before Christmas, so we do want to wish Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy Holidays to all our listeners out there. We thank you for joining us. Hope you get have a great wrestling present-filled Christmas out there, if that's what you want. Appreciate Travis. You got me the Shawn Michaels unreleased DVD. I'm excited to pour into that one after the holidays. Appreciate it, my brother. Yeah,
man, absolutely. And you got me the Undertaker graphic novel, so I can't wait to read that on this holiday break. I have a couple days off for Christmas and New Year, so I'm definitely going to read that one. I'll give my report to you guys.
Give us a book report.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll write a book report on the typewriter, ding, and I'll give it to you guys. So anyway, man, this has been a lot. It's been a great show to cover. We've been looking forward to this one. Hope you guys are looking forward to it as well. If you were there in Houston, Texas, the hometown of The Undertaker, I keep forgetting to say if you were there in the last couple episodes. But anyway, if you were there, please let us know. If you're the dude holding the Welcome Home Taker sign, let us know what you guys thought, what your memories are of this show. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, take her easy.
I'm right here. Let's do this thing. I'm right here. Come on. I'm right here. Hold it right there. Hold it right there. Put your hand on right there. You got to be kidding.
It's definitely the man. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say.
Hey, I know what my rights are, and I waive all of them. Come on. Good. The rest is. We got everything under control. You know, I bet that was a donut. You could get it on there. I want y'all to enjoy this. You are?
Very much. You violated the law.
I violated the law? I'm going to violate more than that.
You're going
Hey,
to
Steph,
jail.
why don't you tell me something? Why don't you tell me what it's like to be married to a man who doesn't have a set? Tell you what.
You know what, officers? I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure if I want to press charges or
Remember
not
this,
right
Triple
now.
H? In WrestleMania, this plate of bacon ain't going to be there to protect you.